What is going on? I'm Zedmot. We are on the Anon Moose account. I know it gets confusing, but the code is Zedmot. The YouTube is Anon Moose. I am not good at branding. What I am good at, though, is handling melons. Big melons, small melons, really doesn't matter. A lot of questions from some of you. A bunch of low levels were concerned. A bunch of high levels were concerned about the mega crab, which, by the way, is not on the map quite yet. I assume it's going to be there soon. Do consider subscribing for sneaking of the peeking. People were asking, Zed, what is the best troop combo for melons? And I'm going to go over that right about now. If we can find my armory, that is, which is hidden back there. You can see here, my tanks are only level 1. If you've spent all sorts of gold on tanks, put your tanks in front of the melons. If you've spent all sorts of gold on your heavies, put your heavies in front of the melons. That simple. You need something out front of these guys. They do a whole bunch of damage, and they've got decent health. Let's just double check their health, for example, here. Sitting here with 450 health. If we compare that against a Zuka, for example, about double. Compared to Rifleman, about actually exactly double. Compared to a Heavy, not even close. So getting something out in front of it. I choose Heavies because they don't cost any gunboat energy, and they've got more health than tanks, and you can put more of them in your boats than tanks. But you don't get that damage oomph of tanks. But one thing you do get is that Heavy's range is nice and short, so they get a nice spread between them and Bombardiers. So we're going to stick with Heavies. I'm going to load one boat of the medic dudes. Now, another quick note here. You can use Kavan. I like to use Sparky because I find that her critters keep your troops alive a bit more, but you just want to have something that's going to heal your dudes. We're going to spend some diamonds, and we're going to go over those nice hand-sized melons. We're going to go over how to use small melons. If you have not used these guys on operations, do it. Do it as soon as you possibly can, because these troops are ridiculously strong. I just can't stress it enough just how ridiculously strong they are. We're going to stay over here away from all of that stuff. We don't need to go too close. We're going to keep Everspark pumping out those critters. We are hoping to not lose all that many troops, but because we've got medics, because we've got heavies, there's a lot going on. So need to be a little bit careful about where we're using our troops. Throw some smoke on that backside just to make sure your heavies get out front. And we're going to focus on the boom cannons because that's what's going to kill our heavies, which is going to start our bombardiers, our meloneers, our big melon tossing dudes to die. So we're just going to keep heading to this right hand side, throwing a smoke on that flank. We have lost, I think, maybe 2 of our heavies. Man, I need a I need a case for this phone so badly. My play is going to be bad. My case is en route. Why I say I need a case? I play with my phone and my palms end up just touching with the case. That edge ends up bringing it away. So that right there, my friends, is a decent example of what I'm talking about. I will show you some higher level stuff, but I wanted to focus on the low levels because a lot of those low to mid level players have been asking how to use these guys. Now, on the last attack, I did it just total noob style. You don't want to do that. And what I was talking about is I dropped all of my troops all at once. We are going to do a little bit of planning here. We're going to drop some GBE. We can see right now that these dudes, no one ranges them. So we're going to drop a medic in behind just in case. We're going to drop Everspark so that she can get some of those critters out. And as soon as she gets, you know what, you see that? We need to throw smoke on the front one. As soon as you get more than 2 or 3 of them in the same neighborhood, what's going to happen is they're going to bunch up and move forward a little bit. You definitely don't want that, because what ends up happening is all of a sudden they go from being out of range of snipers to being in range of snipers, and you really don't want that. So We are just using our gunboat energy to get rid of things like boom cannons. We are dropping our troops a little bit late, and knowing that these guys are not going to kill our critters, they're not going to clear mines. And look at this, we're just cruising up to this base, nice and slow. I stress this a million times in a million videos, probably a bit of a hyperbola there, but don't drop your troops all at once. Dropping your troops all at once is how noobs play. You guys are not noobs. When you see an operation attack and someone does a drop, like you guys have all seen this, where someone gets their troops out, they throw a flare like right there, and then they throw like three smokes, and then they drop all of their troops, and you're just stuck wondering what the heck is going through their head. You know it was better in their head. You know they had some form of a plan. But for these melon dudes, a little bit of a plan goes a long, long, long way. So we are going to drop a barrage on all of those mines. Is that overkill? Yes, but we don't want to lose any troops, and you should not lose any troops with these guys. Next up, we're going to drop Everspark up there. We're going to drop our medics in behind her. We're going to drop our bombardiers, and we're just going to chill. Like, absolute chill in this neighborhood. While that's happening, they are going to farm all kinds of gunboat energy, like ridiculous numbers of gunboat energy. And if we need them, we have heavies in reserve. But you know what? I really don't think we're going to need them for this attack, because we can just sit here, farm gunboat energy, go nice and slow, and then keep moving towards that right hand side. So I've told you guys, use heavies in front of your meloneers, use heavies. I mean, come on, like heavy melons, big melons, small melons. There's so many innuendos here, but you don't want to force it. You see this? Nothing on this person's base can touch our melons. I try to use melons all by themselves. On their own, they are so powerful because they absolutely crush things. They do like 4 times the damage of bombardiers. And as a result, you end up with ridiculously crazy GBE numbers. Like, your gunboat energy numbers are through the roof. And if we would have used heavies here, we would have lost some of them, and we wouldn't have been able to use them on harder bases. So keep your troops in reserve, do a little tiny scout, and see what you can do. And generally speaking, you should be able to clear your map with no losses. You saw I lost some troops in that first hit. That's because I just dropped them like a complete and utter noobalism. So, Frank, son, you have like no resources. I probably shouldn't even be attacking this base, but we're going to use our GBE to get rid of the rocket launchers. That is generally my first step, because range defenses are far away. Weird. But as a result, you end up having to pay a little bit more attention to where they are. I'm going to use that barrage right there to clear those mines. We are left with not a heck of a lot of gunboat energy, but more than enough. All we need is a little teeny tiny bit here to get rid of that one boom cannon. For low levels, we've gotten rid of the boom cannon, and as a result, nothing can range our troops. So one other quick note is that using 5 boats of meloneers seems like a great idea. Using 6 boats, using 7 boats, but they bunch up. So as a result, you have to do a little bit more babysitting. Just use 2 boats even. 3 boats. I, on my low level account, only have 4 boats, and I do it on purpose because I want to prove a point that using 4 boats is often better than 6, 7, or 8 boats. Stick to a couple boats of bombardiers. And even on the mega crab, same thing. Hold back some Zukas maybe. Hold back some heavies maybe. Zukas for some extra damage if you need it. Heavies for some extra meat shield. And I feel like I haven't been making nearly enough melon innuendos. But like, looking at this base, nothing concerns me. That rocket launcher is way off to the left. We've got 2 boom cannons that we can shock with the shock launcher, easy peasy, and this one rocket launcher. So what I'm going to do is, just for absolute lols, we're going to send like this. This is just to show you the complete and utter max ridiculous of what I was talking about. We are going to send 1 boat of small melons. These are just those little ones that they sometimes even, I think they sell them square these days. We're going to send them all square melons. Just all innuendos are lost as soon as you go there. We're going to go back to here. Now, quick note for those of you who are looking for all of the details. Meloneers do the exact same targeting as Zukas do. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with that, they target the most damaged building in their range. They only have one building in their range at the moment, which is going to be that rocket launcher. But if we were to mark another building, which I'm sure all of you know what mark means by now, the bombardiers would target that puppy. Lots and lots of detail. By the way, I changed my colors back to a little bit more normal. Thank you to all of you who, I got a couple of you who sent me direct messages saying like, Zed, I don't want to be super rude to you on social media, on the YouTubes, but your colors look awful. They are way too red. So thank you to all of you who sent me messages, commented, and the like. This is still a work in progress. The whole point of this channel is to constantly be improving, to constantly be a work in progress. So I greatly appreciate all of the feedback. Give me negative feedback. It's totally, totally appreciated as long as it's worded in a polite manner, we'll call it. So one boat, melons, all you need for a lot of bases. A lot of bases. As soon as the melons come out, the people just front load their bases. And as a result, you can just cruise along to the back. And smoking one boat of troops is very, very easy. Actually, you know what? Let's just show you what I'm talking about. We're going to mark that machine gun, hoping not to destroy it. And then we're going to put one boat of melons up in their face right about here. Melons, I just can't do it. We're going to get you nice and close. And we're going to shock and we're going to watch what they attack. You notice that flamethrower is the closest building, but they, of course, go for that machine gun. You can fully use that mechanism to your advantage. Mark something. Get them moving. It is so, so good when you scout a base and you figure out exactly what you want to do and then just implement it. This Boom Beach game of ours is a cerebral game. You can play this game incredibly, incredibly smartly. Speaking of, same thing. This is a level 49. This is a higher level than us. We're going to send Everspark and our melons back there. You'll notice that we use... Oops, let's retreat. I wasted... See that smoke over there? Use your flags. I'm preaching to the choir here. Most of you guys know this, but hopefully you also know that there are lots of players that don't know this. So we are going to be over-explaining. If you want your troops to go way up there, use your flags. You don't have to use a flare to send your troops up there. And now that that's done, we're going to go all the way back to here. We're going to walk all of our... it's easy to smoke one troop. You just keep your smoke slightly ahead. As soon as they get towards the edge, drop that next smoke. And look at that. They walk the exact same speed as Everspark, which makes it extra, extra easy. Need to smoke this gap right about there because our troops are going to poke out for a second. Everspark's going to go back and hack that rocket launcher, which means we can throw a shock over on those two. Watch this. Here we go. Everspark doing her wonders. And then one boat of bombardiers with Everspark doing all the wonderful, wonderful things. Now, obviously, that's not going to work on the Mega Crab. I mean, it does work on some stages of the Mega Crab, but it doesn't work on all that many. So do keep in mind that you want to keep your troops alive. That's where heavies comes in. That's where medics come in. But overall, you really, really don't need all that much stuff to keep these guys alive. They do enough damage that by the time the defenses realize they're there, the base is dead. So we're just going to keep wasting all of our gunboat energy on that headquarters. Boom, shakalaka, low level, dealing with big melons, dropping them, and you know, I can't even say it. I started to, and then I caught myself. That one was just too far. That was a bridge too far. Big melons, small melons. I'm going to quickly show you an operation attack because I was amazed that it worked. Jumping over here, this task force is doing curtain call, low level, me doing it unboosted. And this is where I said all melons is a great, great tool. You don't necessarily, you know what, let's pause this. Let me know where you think I'm gonna go. Like, am I going left? Am I going up the middle? Am I going right? The typical Zuka kill spot is back in this neighborhood. Spoiler alert, we did not do that. Check this out. All melons. Just dropping the melons. We're going to show it in 4x mode. Getting some critters to distract the boom cannons because obviously we can throw critters because we are a max level. And then doing the same thing as the low levels, just staying against the edges, letting the critters get out front, letting them take a couple shots here and there. You'll notice that they don't clear mines like we talked about, so we have to keep throwing critters. At this point, I looked down and I had 187 gunboat energy. These guys crush. They farm so much gunboat energy that it's ridiculous. And look at this. Like, just absolutely clearing Axiom. They've cleared 79, 83 buildings right now. That's like 252 gunboat energy or something ridiculous like that. And look at this. Cleared all of that. All that's left is those 3 rocket launchers. And look at that. They don't even range because these guys have so much range. Just absolutely crushing Axiom. Go look for an op that I can do live. Okay, we're going to start here on my low, unopposed mode account. I am going to get rid of, see, this is what I was planning on, getting that tank out front. And the reason for that tank, like we talked about early on, if we have a look, my tanks are level 5. Those are going to do decent job of keeping my troops alive. Also, I don't have Kavan on this account, so that's why we've got some medics loaded. Don't have Everspark as well, so that's where that brain was going. We're going to load those. We're going to load a boat of Zukas. You'll see why in a second. We're going to do a quick operation attack with these guys. What we are going to do is on this, there are lots of operation attacks left, a bunch of high-level players. You don't have to blow things, you don't have to destroy the op to be helpful. We're going to throw one boat of Zukas. We are going to smoke them right to about here. And this goes back to what I was talking about this entire video, which is you don't have to drop all your troops at once. Looking on this right-hand side, there are a bunch of buildings here. We just need to clear a couple rocket launchers, and all of a sudden, all of these buildings open up, which is going to open up all sorts of gunboat energy that people can use to get back towards the core. So our one boat of Zukas doing wondrous things. Nothing ranges them. Just, you see people drop all of their melons and flare the rocket launcher and have to use 2 shocks. We used, 3 smokes, and then we can just hang out in here, and then those Zukas can become a meat shield. I said earlier on, using heavies for a meat shield is a great option. Against boom cannons, against sniper towers, against cannons, you know what's a better meat shield? Zukas. You know what's even better? Riflemen. Single shots means the more shots you can give them, the better off you're going to be. Now that we're done with that rocket launcher, almost dangerous, we are going to flare over into here. I am trying my darndest not to eat those cells. We want to leave those cells for the max level players. As a low level, eating cells is such a bad idea because it just means you're wasting gunboat energy that your max level players can use. So on these kind of hits, all I'm trying to do is clear as many defenses as I can and open up as many cells as I can. Opening up cells just makes your max level players do that much more damage. I hope that makes sense to all of you. We try and preach that in our low level task forces, but it doesn't always come through. As a low level, using your gunboat energy, you have like level 3 barrage, level 7 artillery, just not as good as if you let your max level players use that GBE. So that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm going to end up using way more flares than required, and then I'm going to retreat. I know a lot of task forces say never to retreat. That is completely and utterly wrong. Retreat once you've used enough gunboat energy that you've cleared all of the mines, that you're just eating cells. It's just not a good idea to sit there and waste all of those cells like I'm kind of doing right now. You see that one melon not shooting what I would like him to be shooting. So now that that machine gun is almost dead, come on, machine gun, down you go. We're going to send, just trying to open up as many cells as we can, clear as many mines as we can, and waste our gunboat energy essentially clearing extra mines in case people get into the wrong path. Like that is fully and wide open for a max level player to cruise on up there. I wish we could get rid of that laser, but with this account just wouldn't be super duper helpful. So instead, we're going to clear as many buildings as we possibly can. The bombardiers really would have liked to flare that machine gun from the outset, but we would have lost a couple of our dudes. Now we're going to get going. Trying, look how far into this we've gotten. Just trying to clear those buildings. The machine gun's going to range us? Nope, not quite. So now we should be able to get a couple more of those buildings, open up all sorts of gunboat energy. And by the way, all of these buildings, every single one has done some damage on core as well. Every building you destroy does damage on core, which means that we're being somewhat useful for our task force. Let's throw that final artillery, hope that it lands in time, and it's not going to. So, decent operation attack with a little bit of thinking involved. I'm going to try to get one more max level. We'll see how it goes. Okay, found one. Took a little bit of time. Thankfully, with the internets, that doesn't affect you guys. Stronghold, stronghold, stronghold. Low point, if I had laser rangers, we would go for that 1000%. Let's have a look at Tapir. Tapir, I love to smoke to the back right corner. Critter launcher is going to be a bit of a pain. I don't like using Everspark when it comes to critter launchers because bad things happen. So we are going to go with bullet. I don't like using bullet in this instance, but whatever. We'll just drop in, see if we can't solo Tapir. You know what? Let's get energy drink instead, just to try something. We're going to drop on this right-hand side. This is one of those absolute nonsense task forces that I'm a member of. I really, really enjoy joining random task forces. So if you have a random task force that, or you have your home task force that you love and you have a couple empty spots, do leave a comment below. I would love to join you. Come hit in your task force for a week, for 2 weeks, something in that neighborhood. Lots of good things can be done. I am not super great on intel on these accounts, but the operation attacks are worth it in spades. So good. Anyways, Everspark not here, so we're not going to distract, we're not going to attract those critter launchers. We're just going to get all of the gunboat energy, like ridiculous amounts of gunboat energy. My statues are so strong on this account. So we are going to crush over, getting so much damage that it's going to blow your mind. I'm going to throw a shock here in a second because we want to try to keep all of our rifles alive as I let them die to those flamethrowers. And then again, still just cruising over to that right, throwing critters to keep that shock launcher distracted, but at the same time really hoping that our critters die well before they get anywhere close to that shock launcher. We don't want to deal with critter launchers. Critter launchers have absolutely changed the game. They are so dangerous, and I just don't want to deal with them. So as a result, I shock them way more than I probably should. But I'm kind of okay with that too. Sneak in some critters left, right, and center because we also don't want to deal with shock launchers because they will ruin this for us. And look at this. Just crushing things. Moving right. Moving right seems to be the trend of the day. Slowly but surely working our way up. And because we've got so much damage, it's just absolutely unstoppable. We're going to crush this base. We are going to pick up the solo. I'm almost certain. The only thing we have to worry about now is Bullet. I want Bullet to die. Like, I'm going to let those machine guns and mortars and flamethrowers kill Bullet because he's the only thing stopping us from soloing this op. If all of those critter launchers start absolutely keying in on Bullet, we are going to be in a world of pain. I think he's managed to stay out of their range, and as a result, this base is done like dinner. So yes, you definitely, in some instances, need some troops in front of your melons, but a lot of times you can get by with just the melons. riflemen getting shot in the face, like we talked about a little bit earlier, against those boom cannons. So good. I love these melons. To all of you who voted for them, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love them. They are better than lasertrons in my opinion, because lasertrons, we've got those laser ladies. That is going to be all for me. Everyone who calls me Link when I join their task force, this is a URL up the top left. It helps you come into our Discord. It helps you to enter the creator code. It gets all sorts of good stuff, so do consider checking out that URL. I shall talk to you soon. Thanks for coming in. I'm Zedmont. Peace.